Your country 1039 KGRT, Carrie Underwood and Undo It.
Time now for your question of the day. Brought to you by the Farmers and Crafts Markets of Las Cruces. Fresh produce, bread, meat, honey, food trucks, handmade art, music, and more. Every Saturday and Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. downtown Las Cruces.
That's right. It's time for our question of the day, brought to you by the Farmers and Crafts Market of Las Cruces. And as we all know, Father's Day is on the way. That's right. Father's Day is going to be this Sunday. And according to a survey of 2,000 men by Omaha Steaks, so you know that the men were answering right there, well, they were asking them the top traits that we got from our dads. Yeah. One of them was taking grilling very seriously, which makes sense on an Omaha Steaks survey. Also, repair things instead of buy them new. Also, get really into corny jokes. 28% of them said that one. And if there's anything that I picked up from my dad, dad jokes and corny jokes for sure. Yeah. Also, telling your kids to ask their mother and falling asleep on the couch with the game on. Now, I don't fall asleep on the couch with the game on. I fall asleep in my gaming chair while I'm watching YouTube. You know, it's 2025. Got to update that in some way. But, in honor of Father's Day coming up, of course, we're going to have a few questions this week that have to do with dads. And today, I guess this could be more for the guys out there, but I suppose we can go ahead and expand it. But Father's Day is Sunday. And for the guys out there, at what moment did you realize that you had become your father? Or like I said, let's expand. At one point in time, did you realize that you had become one of your parents? Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think I realized I was starting to become more like my dad, just because, the sense of humor thing was definitely there. But then, falling asleep while watching TV was definitely one of those of like, I guess just like my dad used to do. Yeah. So I think that was probably one of those things. And I don't know. It's been happening for a long time, very slowly, so it's hard to pin down one moment, but probably that one right there. I realized I started to become more like my grandparents when I started comparing medications with everyone. Yeah, you get to that point too. But our question of the day for today, at what moment, for the guys out there, at what moment did you realize that you had become your dad? Or for the ladies, at what point in time did you realize that you were becoming your mother? When did you know that you were becoming more like your parents? That's just, we should boil it down to that right there. So let me know your answers. Call them in, text them in, 575-523-KGRT. That's 575-523-5478. Of course, we are live on our social media pages as well, Facebook and YouTube, so you can leave your comments there for us as well. But yeah, our question of the day today, at what moment did you realize you had become your parents? That is our question of the day, brought to you by the Farmers and Crafts Market of Las Cruces. Okay. Exclusively up on our social media pages right there. Today's a Monday, so I definitely had to double check, make sure all the buttons were pushed properly. But yeah, what point in time did you realize you were becoming more and more like your parents? You know what? When I think about this, becoming more and more like my dad was definitely some of those things he used to do. Corny jokes for sure was one of those. In fact, I had my stepmother tell me once, I don't know how you and your dad get along because you guys are so much alike. So apparently, like I said, it's been happening all my life. I realized I was probably becoming more like my mom when I was back home because I started going everywhere and running into people that I know, and people knew me. I can't take my mom anywhere. I kid you not. When she was down here and, at the hospital, this is an emergency thing, her husband's in the hospital. It's very, scary type thing. They had to fly him in here all the way over from Gallup. And she ran into like 3 people she knew. I'm not joking about that. This is a true thing in the hospital, in the ICU. So I can't take her anywhere without running to her. But I realized I was becoming more like my mom when I was back home. And I couldn't go anywhere without anybody knowing who I was. And it wasn't because I was my parents' kid. It was because I am who I was back then, and everybody just seemed to know who I am. So Yeah, actually, that was a scary moment. I think it's one of the reasons I moved away from home. It's like, that's just too weird. I can't handle it. But what about you? What was maybe something that made you realize that you were becoming more and more like your parents, like your father or your mother right there? So go ahead and let me know your answers for our question of the day. In the meantime, let's go ahead and check out and see what is going on in and around the world. Let's see. I forgot I had to start that over again. Here we go. I think I talked about this maybe a little bit earlier. The whole Diddy trial thing is going on, and he's starting to, I guess, criticize the sketch artist Jane Rosenberg for softening him up, making him look like a koala bear. Diddy, dude, you got so many other things to worry about. I wouldn't worry about how you look in a sketching there, right there. Also, if you are a wrestling fan, Ric Flair just let everybody know that he has been diagnosed with skin cancer. This is the second time in 3 years, and of course, he's going to start treatment here pretty soon. Good luck, Rick. Tesla is set to launch a robo-taxi service in Austin. That is going to happen sometime this week. Residents are eager to try out some of the self-driving vehicles. Let's see. Bowflex weights have been recalled because of 100 reported injuries. Hopefully not too serious. Dairy Queens are now charging $2.71 for pup cones rather than offering them for free. One woman posted a video on TikTok complaining about the charge. Look, those cones cost them some money to make. $2.71 is not too bad, I don't think. Lilo and Stitch still number one at the box office, made about $32.5 million. Ballerina opened up at $25 million. The film itself cost $80 to $90 million to produce. It earned another $26 million overseas for a total take of about $51 million. Trust me, that movie will make its money, and I'm looking forward to it. I almost broke down and went and watched it this weekend, but I had too much fun sitting around doing nothing. Mission Impossible, Karate Kid, Legends, and Final Destination round out the top 5 for the weekend box office. And yeah, we are looking for answers for our question of the day today. At what point in time did you realize that you were becoming more and more like your parents? You know, guys, when did you realize you'd become more like your father? You know, Father's Day coming up this Sunday, and or either one. I suppose we pick up traits from both of our parents, right? I just got that text message. Yeah, the movie was Real Steel, and I was looking it up on the computer. Said to do something earlier, and I got duped into watching a fan-made version of a Real Steel 2 trailer. So, yeah, it would have been exciting if that was going to happen. But yeah. So that's going to be coming up. But back to our question of the day today. When did you realize that you're becoming more and more like your parents? You know, Father's Day is coming up, and I am probably more like my dad than I realize, but it would be fun. I wonder how much exactly I would have been like him as he got older. That's a question I have, because he did pass away when he was rather young. In fact, I'm older than he is by a margin here. So I wonder how much alike we would be as he got older. That is a question right there. I'll have to ask him that someday. Well, once again, we're looking for your answers for our question of the day. So go ahead and let me know your answers. Call them in, text them in. Go ahead and leave your answers in your comments down below. At what moment did you realize that you were becoming more like your father or your mother, you know, or your parents in general? When did you realize you were becoming more and more like them? Find it very interesting, the fact that my mom and I now have conversations about the medications we took and what happened at our last doctor's visit. Kind of sucks getting old. It really does. Let me know your answers for our question of the day, brought to you by the Farmers and Crafts Market